Welcome to the Life by Design, Not Default podcast. I'm Paige, and I'm here with my business bestie Elaine, and we talk about all things life, business, and beyond. This podcast is for anyone done with the mediocre and ready to design a life that is meaningful, impactful, and fun. So, our question to you is, how are you living your life by design, not default?
And we are so excited to have a new friend to the show today. It is brand new, January 1. Happy New Year. And we are launching it with our new friend Otisa Eads. And she is an HR and systems strategist and consultant, and she helps businesses create systems that optimize their business for growth and expansion. In addition, she loves creating strategies with startups, entrepreneurs, or business owners who want to expand their choices with new, aligned, and effective solutions to problems in their business development. In her HR expertise, she specializes in creating recruitment strategies, onboarding systems, and management trainings. She enjoys planning and executive employee engagement activities for her clients. And organizational culture and inclusivity are topics she is most passionate about. She holds a Bachelors of Science in Business and a Bachelors of Arts from Murray State University. She's originally from Westport, Kentucky, but has been living in Colorado for the past 5 years. When she is not working, she is enjoying time in the mountains and hanging out with her dear friends. So, welcome, Miss Otissa. We are so excited to have you.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so
Wow.
happy to be here and to welcome the new year with both of you.
Yes.
Yay!
This is exciting. We I've heard so many great things about you, and I'm so excited for our audience to be able to get to know you a little bit better and the valuable services that you provide. I do not think that there's a lot of people providing it in the way that you are providing it. So that's why we wanted to have you on the podcast. So
Yeah.
so my first question to you is, how did you get started in this particular area of expertise?
It is such a great question. I'll try to not go to the long version, but I've always done admin work. I've always either been an assistant manager or acting as if I was the assistant manager. And then even in college, I was just telling a friend that I was a residential advisor, so I got to learn what it's like to work with people, learn what it's like to work in a team at a very young age, and ironically working with women only because it was a female dormitory, so it was all women that were my coworkers, and learning how to you know how do you deal with the sticky people situations, how do you my job is to make sure people are safe and making sure that we are all safe, having fun, doing the college life, but making sure that we are sticking to the rules. And I was telling a story how someone was, of course, they flip you off when you ask them to show them their badge, and and how you have to handle that at such a young age and still not let that authority go to your head, right? So at a very, in my early 20s, maybe 18, 19, I was doing that. And when I graduated college, I was still doing the RA role, but in a different capacity on campus. And then I started working in radio, which I know that sounds random, but it actually inspired me on a lot of different reasons. But you're working with a team with majority adults, and how do you, especially when they're not micromanaging you? And actually, I think that's what kind of inspired that whole. I like to be autonomous, and still reach the goals and still do what you're supposed to do and show up. However, when you leave the college campus and you go into the workforce, it's the complete opposite. And how to finagle that whole that culture that is unfortunately predominant in most workspaces. So I always kind of had this job or role where I was either working with directors and managers, or I was the one having to making sure people were following the rules and doing what they were supposed to do. And then I worked for a catering company who had no um, they had no admin position. They had no front desk receptionist. They had no real customer service. And that's what I did. I created that position. And then I moved up to the HR manager position again. Didn't really have a good foundation, had to do a lot of cleanup, had to basically say, look here, this is all out of order. I just created my own HR binder according to the Colorado laws, and we got to do an audit here. And that's what I did. I just started kind of like building that foundation for that business. And I learned that that was a skill set to do that, compliance and making sure we're having a
Yes.
good time, but we're being safe, and we are remembering that when you come into the workplace, you still got to act right. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. And
The
there are
acting
still
fool.
norms. Yeah, exactly. There's still norms that have to happen.
Mhm.
So talk to us a little bit about how does someone know that they need you? Because I'm pretty sure, like you had mentioned when you were talking, cleaning up messes, they
Yeah.
probably call you after the fact. But
Yeah.
how can someone be proactive in getting you engaged and involved in their business?
Great. These are awesome questions. I think for me, it's more about looking at where you are and where you're trying to go. So if you are a business owner and maybe you have a small team, maybe it's 2 people on your team, but you're already anticipating to hire on more, or maybe you are realizing that you're going to have to start hiring soon, whether it's contractors, employees, and you realize that you have no systems for that. You have no job descriptions. Um, you have no system set up in place to say, okay, here's your role, and here's a guide on what to do. If that is not happening, then that's usually the time that it's good to reach out to someone like me, to either help you get that foundation right. Let's get the job descriptions put in place. Let's go ahead and have an onboarding system ready to go. Let's go ahead and get a standard operating procedure ready for honestly the entire business, but it may not be something we hash out in a month. It may be an ongoing document that you're going to have, and then you can pass it on to your lovely assistant or new intern, and they're going to keep that document going for you. So that way when you hire on your accountant down the road, you already have a procedure on what you do and how you do it, and maybe they can go ahead and make it even better and more efficient. So that's really for me, like, to help kind of create those basics, those foundations, so that way, as you scale, as you grow, you're not like, oh crap, I don't even have a job description, and I'm interviewing like 5 candidates, right? Like, that's usually when I'm getting called in, or there's a sticky situation that's going on with their staff, and they're like, hey, can you come in?
Yeah.
Right.
you know?
Sounds to me like you're a bridge builder for
Yeah,
sure.
Mhm.
I
Right?
love that.
So I'm curious, as like, businesses are like wanting to expand or grow. And you mentioned that you love talking about organizational culture and inclusivity. Can you share, like, how can a company like build that culture and make sure that we are being inclusive to various types of people and various backgrounds, and and having a diverse culture?
Yeah,
And just let me just add another thing to that. And
yeah.
what are some of the ways
Yeah.
that companies can do that? Because I think it's one thing to say that you need it, but actually how do they execute on that?
Yeah.
Totally. That's what I do. So I think within organizational culture, I think what's really important, especially if it's easier to look at this when you haven't had staff. It's harder when you already have staff in place, and to go back and look at that culture. I would look at it as kind of like, what are the things that are important to you, and not just like, are we is this the mission statement, is this the core value? Like, that's great, that sounds good on a website. What really matters is, how are you talking with your staff? What's the culture? Like, for instance, I love music, and I love singing and dancing and having fun. That's just my nature. So with my intern, I always, sometimes when I'm like having a good day, or I want to just kind of check in on her, see how she's doing, I'll sing her a little message. I'll sing it to her, and it's recorded. It's on WhatsApp. It's hilarious. And she'll sometimes she'll sing back a message to me, and it's hilarious. But I feel like if as I grow my business and I grow my team, um I like fun. I like to laugh. I like to have a good time, because when you have hard times, when you have difficult times, you already have that rapport with your staff. You already have that ability to say, we're in this together. So it's easier for me to be able to just be myself
Mhm.
in those different facets. But I feel like within an organization, you'd be looking at, how do you run your staff meetings? Is it very orderly, structured, and people bring their reports, and it's got to be, you got 2 hours, and it's going to be business, business, business? Or do you start
You've
with,
been to my meetings before?
those meetings are important, but I feel like too, you can say, okay, let's do an icebreaker, or There's some, I'm not sure if you all are fans of a show on YouTube called Good Mythical Morning with Rhett and Link. Not sure if you've heard of them, but I've listened to their podcast and they talked about how they used to have this philosophy of having a family oriented staff, but they realized that that's actually not a good look because you don't fire your family, do you? So you wouldn't have that culture. Actually, I really try to tell people not to go down the we are a family, because honestly it'll be a dysfunctional one by default when you
Right.
have that type of culture perpetuated.
Mhm.
So I like the idea of a team. We're go-getters. You can create your own name for it. You can have a mascot for all I care, but try to make sure that everyone understands why we're coming together. We're coming together to do some work. We're coming here to reach the big goal. We all want to make some money, but like let's make sure we establish the norms. So one thing that they do is, since they're in California, they'll have their staff meeting and they'll ask them questions like, what celebrity sighting did you have this week? And that's how they start their staff meetings. And it's hilarious to me that they have the same type of question. They live in LA, or they're in the LA area. They're going to run into some celebrities. And it's a great way to start off a meeting. So to me, there's different ways you can totally do that.
Mhm.
How are you checking in with your staff? Again, if your culture is really business, okay, fine, that's great. But there's some things you can do. There's certain things you can do for them to build that culture, that foundation.
Mhm. One thing that I find really interesting is that Paige and I have been hosting a masterclass this week, right? And one of the things that um, it's a lot of solopreneurs, and they really would love to have a team, but they are terrified of how do I hire somebody and how will I know that they're going to do a good job and that they are going to represent my company the way that I would want it represented. So could you walk us through like what that interview or hiring process would look like to like actually feel confident that the person that you are hiring is competent and capable and can be trusted? Because I think there is such that fear of I'm going to hire someone and they're going to completely drop the ball and make me look bad. And I'm like, but you have to start somewhere. You
Somewhere, yeah.
can't do it all yourself. And I'm like, $1 million companies, they ain't doing it alone. You have to have somebody with you. So like, how do we get over that? Like, are there good questions to ask? Like, what should we be doing when we are looking at hiring someone
We
to
should
help
be
us?
hiring Otisa and her team, is what we should be
Yes,
saying.
yes,
That
for
would be
sure.
that would be the first. Well, I think that some folks have to remember that fear is although it's daunting with anything you do in your business, it's necessary.
Mhm.
However, you don't have to make actions because of the fear that you have. So a lot of the times people get caught up in the, oh, but I'm scared they're not going to. I used to have this one person when I was doing virtual assistant work back a while ago, and this client's like, I want to hire someone who is me when I'm not here.
Mm.
And I laughed at her and I said, well, that's silly because you're you. And you're not going to find someone to be you when you're not here. You're trying to find someone who's going to be able to do the things that you no longer have the bandwidth to do to propel the business forward. That's what you're hiring for. And I think too, some folks have to understand that it's going to be bumpy and rocky because this person doesn't know anything about you and your business. So
Mhm.
that's why the onboarding, in my opinion, is the most important thing. The hiring part is just filtering. You're filtering to find
Right.
a good. I don't like the word good fit, but like you're trying. I say alignment. You're trying to find someone who's aligned with you,
Mhm.
and that person may have a completely different way of going about a task. And honestly, that's what you want. You
Mhm.
don't want someone who's doing the same thing you're doing. You want someone who honestly is better than you at a lot of things that
Right.
you're not really good at.
Mhm.
So
Girl, you are speaking our language.
We
You're
talk
talking
about that all the
all
time.
the time.
Hire
All the
someone that
time.
is smarter than you. Like it is okay to hire someone that is smarter than you, but we think we have to be, that we have to know all the things. I'm like, hire
nope.
someone that fills in your weakness, that is the
Yes.
strength to your weakness, that is the yin to your yang. Like it's okay.
Yes. And
That's
in
right.
fact,
And
yes.
who may do it in a different way. I think
Mhm.
Yes.
that's the other thing.
Well, that's the diversity piece. That's
Mm-hmm.
diversity. It's someone who looks at the world differently than you and brings those differences that ultimately supports your business mission and goals, right? And I think with the people get really obsessed with the hiring process. And I mean, you can have a really robust, difficult, narrowing down of this filter. Like that's fine. But for me, what I do when I used to interview is the resume is fine, but I honestly don't look at it because I hate to say this, but people can make it up. People can put things on there, or it's also, you can judge too much. So you say, oh man, they had 2 years off here. That's kind of, instead of looking at it from a, like, this is about them and what they're going to do for me. I look at it like, oh, this is just where they went. Okay. Kind of like when you look at Facebook and you look at someone's about. That's kind of how I look at a resume. It is not anything more than just the nitty gritty of that person. So you know a little bit more about them. It doesn't tell me anything about what they can do in the job. It really doesn't. Yeah. You can hire someone that has zero experience in something, but yet they have the passion and the willpower to do a task. Maybe they didn't have an opportunity to showcase that skill set in the previous positions. Or maybe they're having a career change. I mean, there's so many different things that happen that a resume cannot include. So like I don't
street smarts.
Like street smarts. Can they go, like, there's certain skills. Like I always tell folks, you can't teach critical thinking.
Right.
You can teach anything else, but critical thinking is something you really can't teach. So if you're hiring someone and they're going to do a lot of critical thinking, then your interview style is going to be about critical thinking. It's not going to be about where you went to college. Did you get a good GPA? Like that's not going to tell you anything about.
It's going to be about problem solving.
Yep.
It's going to be about finding solutions. It's going to be about putting pieces together in the puzzle.
Yep.
All those things. Yes.
Yeah.
Girl. Are...
Common sense is not that common.
It's not. But also there's some jobs where it's not needed.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And there's some positions where I need someone who's like my intern. I love that she's really detail oriented. She follows directions very, very well. That's important to me right now. Do I need someone that's creating like crazy, awesome ideas and like, not right now, but I will soon. Eventually I'll need someone who's that idea generator and doer. I'm going to need that. But right now I need someone who's like, hey girl, you forgot some people in your email list, like your grammar on this newsletter is off. That's what I need. I need someone who's really looking at things with a fine tooth comb. So, I mean, I think some folks get really caught up in aspects of the hiring and outsourcing process that really isn't important, because if you find a person who's aligned with you, who you can, excuse me, but shoot the shit with, but you can also get shit done, that's awesome. You can teach them how to use your CRM. You can teach them how to use your social media, scheduler, but you can't teach, the other things, right? So I think that folks need to really kind of sit down and say, what am I needing? Like, what am I really needing right now? You can have a job description, but that's more about for them to execute the job and for you to kind of like maintain performance and productivity. But really, you have to find a candidate who's able to push that forward and take it further than you even imagined. So, and then also if you're going to be the CEO, wear the CEO hat is what I always tell myself and others. The CEO is the visionary. They're saying, here's, we are going in this direction. But sometimes it doesn't mean you come down and you say, okay, I'm going to tell you how to wash these floors,
Right.
No, you're going to say, hey, if you get the floors clean, then we can focus on this next project, right? You're not kind of getting stuck down in the doing of every single task, because you'll never get anything done.
Right.
If you're constantly doing that. So I try to tell people, when you end up hiring, try to stay in your CEO lane and then let your employee, your contractor, do what they're great at, and just focus on the productivity side if you have to, and focus on the direction side. Where are we going? What is what they're doing now propelling us forward? That's what matters,
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. I love it. So Otisa, tell us, what is the one business tool that you cannot live without?
Oh, that is hard. The one business tool I can't live without. Honestly, it would have to be goal planning and scheduling the steps to reach the goals, because sometimes we'll just have goals, but we don't we don't have an action plan on reaching to those goals.
Oh my gosh. Were you on our, did you like sneak on our master class
I
yesterday?
I did not, I promise.
That's what we talked about yesterday. Do you have a favorite, like an app or a system or like
Software?
software? Like, what's your favorite platform that you love to use that you can't live without?
It is Trello.
I know, girl.
I love Trello. It is good. And have you ever used Todoist? Because Todoist and Trello
Todoist, yeah.
are very similar, actually.
Yeah.
And I use
Yeah.
that for like my personal life, and Trello is just for the business.
Gotcha.
Love it. I actually love the enhancements and improvements that they've made in Trello in the last 2 years.
Yeah. Different.
Yeah. I'm like the power ups. That's all over the power ups.
Power ups are the best part.
Power ups. I was like, I could take or leave Trello, but now that we have power ups, we're good.
No, it's really good.
We're friends again.
Yeah. That's
Not
so
gonna
that's so funny.
be mad. So then I know we were just in the holidays, and we're still kind of in that season because today is January 1st. Happy New Year, everyone, once again. What was the last meaningful gift that you gave to someone?
Oh, some deep stuff in this conversation. The last gift I gave someone. Okay, well, I'll tell you two things. I made a delicious bomb dinner for my boyfriend. It was awesome. It was short ribs. It was great. Because that's what I do. I try to my gift to him is cooking because I don't do it often because it's a lot of work.
Okay.
And so I always try to gift him with that kind of experience, And then for a client, I gave a leadership sensitivity training last Wednesday. Yeah. And it went very well. And I love hearing at the end how impactful it was to the staff that attended. I think that it was like a double whammy gift, They got a gift of a new thinking, a new perspective on inclusivity in the workplace and how to show up as a leader. How to show up as an inclusive leader. And then I got the gift of, oh my gosh, it works. Like when you train people on this actually makes a difference.
Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing. Thank you for sharing that.
What is your favorite book? Like either it could be like business or it could be like fiction or comedy. What's your favorite like?
Wow, I love reading. So this is hard. So I would say I'm gonna have to do one business and then one fun book. So I'm a huge fan of Phoebe Robinson. I'm not sure if you all know of her. She's wonderful. And she has a book called Everything is Trash, but It's Okay. And she also has a book, You Can't Touch My Hair and Other Things I Still Have to Explain. Those two are equally just hands down. You're laughing, you're crying, you're laughing and you're crying. It's great books. And they're like little essays, so you can read them pretty quickly.
Right.
And then I would say, well, it's not really businessy, but I use it in that lens. There's a book by Gabby Bernstein called The Universe Has Your Back.
Oh yeah.
That is one of my favorite books. I'm very woo-woo, so I'm all about the universe and trusting into the universe and all of that great stuff. So that has helped me a whole lot because when you're a business owner, there's some outcomes you have no control over.
Right.
And you can either sit there and obsess about this, what if, could be, should be, or you could just focus on what you're doing right then and there and let it go. It takes practice. So that book always helps me.
Yeah.
She kills me with her little turbans that she wears. I'm like, I'm just gonna close my eyes.
Close your eyes, yeah.
Because what you're saying is really good. I just can't take that on right now.
Yeah. I read. I don't really do a lot of watching.
Yeah. That is so funny. So one of the things that we always talk about and we ask our guests is, what is your motto that you live by? So I have a particular motto that I live by. My motto is, I deserve to be here, based on my experiences, my contributions to the world, all that kind of stuff. Elaine's motto changes with how she feels all the time.
Yeah, it changes.
It changes. So what is it today?
I don't know. So it's New Year. And so I actually had a great post this morning, and it was, hold on, where is it? Besides my naughty desk calendar, is, I know I got a new naughty desk calendar. Today is the first blank page of a 365 page book. Write a good one.
Oh,
Right?
that's nice.
Good one.
Right? Very fitting for New Year's today. But I feel like every day we have the opportunity to write a new chapter in our story. It's a choice every single day. It's not like we don't have to wait until January 1st to make
That's right.
changes, to make goals, to set new intentions. Like, you decide that every single day, right? And so I just try to be more intentional about that. So, Otisa, what is your motto that you live by?
Ooh, that is hard one. So before I tell you, I'm a huge fan of mantras and affirmations. And so you can't see this, but all around my office is a bunch of affirmations and great reminders. So I'll give you an affirmation and I'll give you my motto. My motto is all about authenticity, doing things from an authentic place. I believe that sometimes we get scared at the idea of being vulnerable in our business and in general. So if I'm doing things that's authentically aligned with me, I can't go wrong, So showing up here today, being my authentic self, I'm doing something good,
Mm-hmm.
So that's my motto. And then I would say my affirmation that I'm obsessed with right now is, I am ready to show the world who I am and what I offer. No one can stop me from fulfilling my purpose.
Oh,
So that is one of I have tons of them, literally like everywhere. But that one is the one that I'm going to be focusing on this year.
That's
I love
awesome.
it.
That's awesome. So with the idea of being intentional, right, and how you're showing up and stuff. So how are you designing your life, right, with intention? So by design, not default, right? Default is like we just go with the flow and whatever happens, happens. But we all have the choice to really create the life that we want. So are you doing anything specific to make sure that you are living the life of your dreams?
Wow, again, deep
I know.
questions, but I love it. Like, it's great. I would say this is something I literally said to my boyfriend the other night. I said, I really need to start putting my health and myself first. I have always, no matter what personal development work I've done, I still struggle with remembering that if I don't put this first, then I'm always trying to playing catch up and I'm always juggling, and you're running on E, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm really trying to remember to put myself first. That no is a complete sentence.
Yep.
All those different things. I was talking to someone the other day and they said, I need to stop settling for crumbs. Meaning, like, how some, like, oh yeah, I'll do that. Sure. Yeah. But really that's not what you need. So why settle for that? Only go out for what you really truly want in its complete whole self. So yeah, I think those are like probably three things I just said, but definitely like remember to put myself first, remember to be gentle with myself, and not settle for just any old thing. If it's not serving me and it's not aligned with me, get out of here.
Get out of here.
Yeah.
Girl, get out of here with that. That is my quote.
That's right. That's right.
We have t-shirts and we have face masks available for sale.
Yes. It says, girl, you better get out of here with that.
You better get out of here with that.
I love it.
Hands down.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Otisa, I couldn't have, dreamed for a better way to bring in the new year than to have you on our podcast and to share your juicy knowledge nuggets with all of our listeners. You are amazing. And I also can't wait to see what the rest of the year holds for you. So you have to make sure that you stop back in. We would love to have you on the podcast again about team building when people are ready to build their team. We would love to have you come back on and talk about that because I think people have a lot of questions. Mm-hmm. And could really benefit from your insight and your knowledge on that process. Mm-hmm. So with that,
I'm getting some pop rocks.
Are you getting?
I know.
She's working, girl.
I'm gonna just write it down and we'll talk later. But I'm like going.
See it. I see the steam coming out of your ears.
Oh,
That's
shit.
right.
What is happening? Oh no, it's happening right now.
But no, it'd be a pleasure and an honor to come back and talk about anything you want.
Oh my goodness. So thank you so much. And we are wishing you a healthy and happy and productive and profitable 2021.
And before we go, so Otisa, tell us, where can people find you? Where can they connect with you?
Yes, you can connect with me by going to my website, otisaeads.com. You can check me out on Facebook and just type in my name, Otisa Eads, and you'll see both my personal and my business Facebook page will appear. And you can find me on Instagram at Otisa Eads LLC, and stay in touch with me. And, I'd love to hear from anyone, any questions you have. You can find me on LinkedIn as well. You can find me in a lot of different places.
Awesome.
Fantastic.
An absolute pleasure to have you on our show today. I'm so glad you finally got to meet Paige. You guys got there. Otisa has been, like, we've connected multiple times, and she's just a gem, and I just love connecting with you. And she did something that was really, really sweet. So just side note, I was helping some gals with a protest, and Otisa sent a letter of support to the gals, and I printed it out and put them in envelopes to give to everybody so that they could have an inspirational letter to take with them and keep with them. And so it was just very, very sweet of her to do that. So I wanted to say thank you again for doing that, because it was, you just never know. You put out the call and you never know who's going to respond. And we were talking and she's like, yep, I'm on it. Right. And so it was super awesome. So
yeah, we got to support one another no matter what we're doing.
Yes, especially
I was glad to do that.
Who were trying to they were trying to make changes in their school about how sexual assault is handled, and talking about hard stuff. They were talking about hard stuff, and it was really impactful and very powerful, and it was really cool to have you be a part of it from afar.
Yeah, it was a pleasure. It really was.
Yeah, so thank you again. Happy New Year, everybody.
Thank you.
We're looking forward to a very prosperous 2021.
Yes, and thank you too for having me. It's been such a pleasure. I adore both of you very much.
Awesome. All right, see you guys later.
Bye.
Ciao.